Listen, if you've ever wondered what a lake sounds like when it talks, it isn't waves, it's breath. Thin, reed shaped, pushed through cattails like a throat clearing itself. When I was little, my mother cracked my bedroom windows open every night and said, "It's just the lake talking." I repeated that to myself the first night back. I shouldn't have. I only came to the lake house to clear it out and sign the listing papers. 2 days, three at most. After the funeral, my apartment was unbearable, floral arrangements fermenting on every surface, sweet and rotting, like grief wearing perfume. The lake house smelled different. The pines leaned too close. The floorboards sagged from decades of freeze and thaw. The water from the taps stained every mug red. And beneath the sap and damp wood, something else threaded the air, a wet, low smell, sour at its edges, like breath trapped in fabric. Mom died in January. Her winter things were still there. A jar of Vicks by the bed, wool socks draped over the radiator, a crossword with murmur written 3 times where she didn't want to erase it. I told myself the sourness in the halls was old lotion, but the lake thawed strange this year. "It's just the lake talking," I said aloud, as if the house needed reminding. The whisper started with a mistake. I left my phone on the kitchen table while taking trash back to the dock. When I came back, a voice memo sat on the lock screen, 9 seconds long, mostly hiss, a wet exhale, then my name, stretched thin, spoken like someone with water in their lungs, and a whisper, close enough I could imagine breath on the microphone. "Don't close the windows." Curiosity is a hook. You don't feel the barb until you tug against it. I played it again, telling myself the reeds made human-shaped vowels, that my brain filled in the blanks. But I didn't delete it. I replayed it beside the vent, over the stove, the bathroom register, the seam where the baseboard lifted from the wall. The whole house seemed to breathe with me, iron, mildew, something faintly sweet, like peaches left open too long. On the third replay, I heard something new, a click, a latch. Fear doesn't rise like a jump scare. It accumulates slowly, like humidity. I ripped off the metal registers, a wad of matted hair, pine pollen, a bandana soaked through with something sour and fishy. In the bathroom vent, I found 2 AA batteries, new and shiny, used recently. In the linen closet, the smell hit like a wet cloth over the mouth, rot softened by detergent. I pressed on the back panel. It shifted. Behind it, blackness. Crawl spaces lie. They pretend they're wiring in dust. This one wasn't. Blankets pressed into the joists, a narrow mattress stained dark at the corner, far in the back, a bucket full of something hardened into yellow crust. Near the bedroom duct, a cheap lav mic was taped to the metal with painter's tape. A cable snaked to a cracked phone. Not my mother's, not mine. Someone had been living in the walls. I scrambled out and slammed the panel shut. My breath tasted like rust. Then my phone buzzed. One new voicemail, 9 seconds, unknown number. "Don't close the windows," the whisper said. "I'm still here." I should have called the police immediately. Instead, I stood there, heart slamming, thinking about inspectors, liability, headlines, thinking about my mother, her kindness, her cracked windows, her soup left cooling on the stove some nights like she was waiting for company she'd never explain. I didn't want to cheapen her memory with a crime scene, so I told myself, collect the evidence, then call. I went back to the crawl space with gloves and a trash bag, pulled up the tape, pulled up the phone, airplane mode, battery at 10%, screen smeared from repeated swipes. The photo gallery's worse than the smell. Pictures of me, carrying bags to the dock, sleeping open mouth on the couch, standing at the sink. Pictures of my mother, in her robe, hand to her heart, looking toward the vent above her bed. Older photos, my family at Christmas, Dad grilling, me at 8 in a paper crown, all shot from low angles from inside the walls. My mother hadn't cracked the windows to hear the lake. She cracked them to let something else breathe. I dropped the phone, hands shaking, pressed 9-1, and realized there were no bars. Then a text arrived. One word. Don't. Something clicked in the hallway. A real latch this time. Footsteps climbed the dock stairs, wet, barefoot, soft as soaked wood. The smell reached me first. Lake water, damp wool. A sweetness like spoiled syrup. Then a voice. Hey. Casual, like you just stepped out to get the mail. Windows open? He rounded the corner. He was younger than I expected, older than me. Beard patchy, hair stringy, skin crosshatched with small, neat cuts. He wore my father's rain jacket, the one Mom kept on a hook by the door. He raised both hands slowly. Not here to hurt you, he said. The lake told me you'd be back. His voice had that soaked wood rasp. He smelled like a wet towel sealed in a gym bag. You heard me, right? He asked. The vents? Yeah. Good. Don't close the windows. Air keeps us honest. Us? I asked. He blinked. She was here, he said quietly. Your mom. But she's quiet now. Quiet, not gone. He went on. I came in winter, needed somewhere the wind didn't bite. Your mom didn't mind. She cracked the windows for me, left seat by the vent, pushed cough drops through the grate like a little boat. His voice warmed with memory, like this was some shared kindness. She didn't know you were here, I said. She knew enough, he said simply. You need to leave, I told him, lifting my phone. He smiled. No service. Tower's still down. Everyone knows that. Not everyone, I thought. Not me. He stepped closer. That sweetness, swelling, syrupy and wrong. You know what else everyone knows? He whispered. Don't close the windows. He turned his back to me, walked to the sink, cupped water in his hands and drank until he choked. The cough sounded like something soft tearing. What did you do to her? I asked. His shoulders stiffened. Nothing, he said. She got small. People get small. I listened, that's all. He looked down the hall toward the crawl space. Windows open? He asked again. Then he started walking. Instinct chose for me. I grabbed his arm. He spun. We collided near the table. A glass fell and shattered. He grabbed my wrist, cold, lake cold, and said almost gently, You don't want to call. You want quiet. You're leaving. You just want it to be over. And the horrible truth was, part of me did. Let go, I said. Promise me, he whispered. Let go. Promise me you'll leave the windows cracked. I drove my forehead into his nose. The crack was soft, wet. He stumbled into the knife block. A chef's knife fell. I grabbed it. He stared at the blade, at me, at the windows. You close them, he said, coughing blood, and the house keeps what it smells. Then bolted down the hall into the dark. I didn't follow. I locked the doors, slammed the windows shut. 1, 2, 3. The house changed pitch, like something tightening its jaw. The smell sharpened, then settled, and the lake went completely still. Outside the dock, I finally got a bar. 911. A deputy came, a dog, flashlights. The crawl space was empty, just blankets and handprints smeared rusty down the panel. No tracks heading toward town, the deputy said. They'll turn up. People like that always do. He smiled, like this was comforting. Keep the windows closed tonight. I didn't sleep. The smell clung to the air, iron and sap and that faint sweetness. Just before dawn, the furnace kicked on. Through the vents, something whispered. Not a voice exactly, but more like a shape of one. Don't close the windows. The ducks hummed. The reeds outside answered. I signed the listing papers at noon. Return is what happens when you come back changed, and the place isn't. 3 weeks later, the buyers arrived, bright-eyed, city voices. I excited about the sound of waves. The husband tried the bedroom window, stuck halfway. Window stiff? He asked. No, I said. They like to stay open. His wife laughed. We love fresh air. It's just the lake talking, I said. The phrase echoed in my head in the ducks under the floorboards. I handed them the keys, told them where the breaker box was. I didn't mention the crawl space. Sometimes silence is mercy. When I stepped outside, the reeds rubbed their fingers together, whispering. The house behind me inhaled a long, slow breath. I could smell it in my clothes all the way back to town. I tell myself I'm not going back, but at night, when the wind shifts, I swear I still hear it. Not a voice, a breath, not a warning, a reminder. Leave the windows cracked. Air keeps us honest. And the house, wherever it is now, exhales.
I'm halfway down the page when I realize every photo is taken inside my house from the same height. Counter level, door frame level, chest level, like someone's standing in my house. I scroll slower, and my thumb starts to drag instead of flick. The images keep loading. Kitchen first, my kitchen, the chipped tile near the sink, the fruit bowl I keep meaning to throw out. The glass left in the drying rack from yesterday morning. The angle changes slightly from photo to photo, like whoever took them shifted their weight between shots. There's no one in any of them. No hands, no reflections, no shadows that don't belong. Just my space, used, lived in, observed. My mind races to catch up. How is this happening? I think to myself. I check the sender again, and there's no name, just a string of letters and numbers. The subject line is still at the top of my screen, pinned there like it's watching me read it. I didn't click it right away. I don't click things. I delete, I report, and I move on. But I had had a long day, and the wording didn't feel like spam. It felt aimed. I scroll again, now the hallway, the narrow one between my bedroom and the bathroom. I recognize the scuff on the wall from when I moved in. I recognize the crooked picture frame that I never fixed. The lighting changes between shots. Some are brighter, some are dim, like early morning or late evening. They're not all from one time. They're from different days. I stop breathing for a second and then force it back through my nose. Okay, I say out loud. Okay. My voice sounds like it doesn't belong to me. I tap one image to expand it, and it sharpens. The grain drops away. This isn't low quality. Whoever uploaded these kept the originals clean. I zoom in on the far end of the hall. My bedroom door is open. The next photo is closer. The same angle, same height, just a step forward. The next one is inside my bedroom. I feel it then, not panic, not yet. Something colder. Something that sits behind my ribs and presses outward. My bed is unmade, the blue blanket twisted toward the edge. My laptop is on the nightstand, closed. I scroll. Another photo, same room, different time. The blanket is folded this time. My shoes are by the door. Another. It looks like nighttime. The room is dark except for the glow of my alarm clock. 2:13 a.m. I'm not in the bed. I know that because I remember that night. I'd slept on the couch after falling asleep watching something stupid. But someone stood in my doorway and took a picture anyway. I exit the image and look at the count on the top of the page. There are 2,537 photos. My thumb hovers and then keeps moving. The next photo is my counter with what looks like a paperclip on it, bent solidly in the middle. I recognize the tile on the counter, but don't remember ever putting a paperclip there. I walk over, glance at the counter. It's clear. I walk back to the computer and continue to look. The bathroom next, the sink, the mirror, the shower curtain half pulled. In one image, there's a steam fogging around the glass. In another, the mirror is wiped clean in a single streak across the center. I don't remember doing that. I don't remember leaving it like that. I zoom in on the mirror. Nothing behind the camera, nothing but the room. No person, no outline, just the space where someone would be. I swallow. Someone's been in here, I say, quieter this time to myself. It sounds more true when I don't try and convince myself it's not. I back out and scroll faster, like I'm trying to get through it before it gets worse. And it gets worse. The photos stop being rooms, and they start being things. My mail on the table, envelopes flipped just enough to show my name, a bill I haven't opened yet, my laundry basket, clothes folded, then unfolded in later images, my nightstand drawer. I stop. The photo is angled down into it. My passport, my spare keys, the envelope with cash I keep tucked under the lining. No one should know that's there. I press my fingers against my lips without realizing it. The next image is closer. The envelope is pulled halfway out. In the next one, it's open. Cash is still inside. They didn't take anything. I feel my throat tighten. Why wouldn't they take anything? The question hangs there, useless. I scroll again, slower now, careful, like I'm moving through something fragile. There's a series of my couch, different days, different positions of the cushions, one with a blanket thrown over the arm, one without. Then a close-up of the remote, then a close-up of the indentation on the cushion, like someone documenting where I sit. I press the side button on my phone and bring it to my ear. It takes 3 rings. 911, what's your emergency? I think someone's been in my house, I say. My voice is steady in a way that scares me more than if it were shaking. Are you in immediate danger? I don't know. There's a pause. Ma'am, can you explain what's happening? I got an email, I say. There are thousands of photos from inside my house. Different days, different times. I'm not in them. No one is, but someone had to be in here. Another pause, longer. Do you see anyone in your home right now, ma'am? I stand up slowly, and my eyes move across the living room. Door, windows, corners. No. Is there a sign of forced entry? No, I respond. Okay, the operator says, and her tone shifts just slightly. It could be a prank or someone you know with access. We can send an officer to take a report. It's not a prank, I say. They were in my bedroom, my bathroom. They opened my drawer. I understand, ma'am. Stay where you are, and officers will be dispatched. I end the call and don't move. I don't keep scrolling. I just stand there, phone in my hand, like if I stay still enough, the house will stay still with me. The knock comes 23 minutes later. 2 officers, calm and polite. They look at a few of the images and they ask if I've shared my Wi-Fi password, if I've had guests, if I use any indoor cameras. No, I say. No. They exchange a look, and I pretend not to see it. We'll file this, one of them says, but there's nothing here that shows a suspect. They were inside, I said. He nods, like he'd heard that before. You lock your doors, ma'am, he says, and call us if anything changes. After they leave, the house feels smaller. Not safer, smaller, like it's already been measured. I sit back down on the couch. The laptop is still open on the page. The photos haven't gone anywhere. 2,537. I don't scroll anymore. I just stare at the number. And then my email refreshes. A new message drops in at the top. No subject line this time, but the same sender. My chest tightens. My finger hesitates over the trackpad. And then I click. There's only one image. It loads slowly, line by line. It's my desk, my laptop, the screen, the exact page I'm on right now, filled with all 2,537 images, taken from just behind me, from inside the room, from where someone would have to be standing to see my screen. And I don't turn around. I found a camera at home hidden in my vent. Police told me not to touch it. I didn't. I almost did, but the officer's voice stayed with me in my ear like he was still in the room. "Don't remove it," he said. "We'll handle it. Just act normal." The vent was half unscrewed, hanging crooked above my dresser. Inside, pushed into the dark, was the camera. Small, matte black, no blinking light. Just the lens pointed straight at my bed. I was still holding the screwdriver when he said it. "Act normal?" I asked. A pause, and paper shifted on his end. "Yes." "That doesn't make sense," I said. "Someone put that in my room." Another pause, longer this time. "We know," he said. "Well, then why would you leave it there?" I was shocked. "You need to trust us," he said. "We'll be in touch." And then he hung up. I was shocked. I stayed where I was, standing in the middle of the bedroom, like the floor had locked under my feet. The camera didn't move. Of course it didn't. But it felt like it had noticed me noticing it. I set the screwdriver down slowly on the dresser and then stepped back into frame. I tested it at first. That's what I told myself I was doing. I sat on the edge of the bed and picked up my phone, scrolling without looking at anything. My reflection in the black screen looked wrong, too stiff, shoulders tight, like I was waiting for something. "Act normal," I said out loud, just to hear it. But my voice sounded thin. I lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. The vent was above me, off to the right. If I looked straight up, I couldn't see it. I tried to keep my eyes there. It lasted maybe 30 seconds, and then I turned my head. Still there, same angle, same quiet lens. I swung my legs off the bed and stood up again. My heart was beating too fast for how still I was. I grabbed my phone and called back. It rang twice. "Police department," a different voice said. "Hi, I just spoke to someone about a camera in my vent," I said, and they told me to leave it. "What's your case number, ma'am?" he asked. I don't have one." A pause, and the keyboard clicked. "What's your address?" I gave it to them. More typing, and then silence. "I see the report," he said finally, and his tone changed. "You've been advised." "Advised of what?" I said. "There's a camera in my bedroom. I didn't put it here." "Yes," he said. "And I'm supposed to just sleep under it and act normal?" "Yes, ma'am. Just continue your routine," he said. "Why?" I asked. "Can you tell me why?" There was another pause. "No," he said. The word landed harder than anything else he'd said. "No." "I can't discuss it further, ma'am," he said. "Is someone watching me right now?" There was silence. "Hello?" I said. "Ma'am, please stay available," he said. "An officer may follow up with you." And then the line clicked dead. I didn't call again. I stood there for a while, holding the phone, listening to nothing. And I placed it face down on the bed, like I didn't want it looking at me too. The room felt smaller. Not physically, just used, like it wasn't mine in the same way anymore. I walked to the closet and opened it, closed it. I don't know why. I checked the bathroom, the mirror, the shower head. Nothing. Back in the bedroom, the vent looked the same. There was no movement, no sign anyone had been there since I found it. But someone had been. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. The screen was too bright. My email was still open from earlier. Work stuff, deadlines, normal things. "Act normal," I said again, and I tried. I answered 2 emails. I reread one 3 times without understanding it. My fingers kept pausing over the keys like they were waiting for permission. Every few seconds I felt it. Not a sound, not movement, just a pressure, like someone was about to speak but didn't. I glanced at the vent and then I stopped myself. If someone was watching, they would expect me to look, so I didn't. That thought made it worse. I pushed my chair back and stood up. My legs felt unsteady, like I'd been sitting for hours instead of minutes. I walked over to the dresser. The screwdriver was still there. Close, easy. I picked it up. The metal felt heavier than before. I looked up at the vent. If I stood on the dresser, I could reach it. 2 screws left, maybe 3. I could pull the cover down, grab the camera, and end this. My hand tightened around the handle. Then I thought back to the voice. Do not remove it. His voice again, calm, certain. We know, he had said. That part kept replaying in my head. We know. We know what? I stepped onto the bottom drawer, testing my balance. The wood creaked under my weight. My head rose closer to the vent. The camera filled more of my vision now. The lens looked bigger up close. Not glossy, almost dull, like an eye that didn't need to reflect light to see. I raised the screwdriver and then stopped. If they knew it was there and they still told me to leave it, then it wasn't there by accident, or there was a reason to leave it. The thought came fully formed, like it had been waiting. Maybe they wanted it there. My stomach dropped. I climbed back down slowly. The room felt different after that. Not watched, just managed. Like someone was already in motion and I was just inside it. I sat on the bed again, careful this time, slower. I picked up my phone and opened the camera app, turning it toward the vent. The screen showed the same thing, the grill, the shadow, the lens. But through the phone, I felt further away, contained. I lowered it. What am I supposed to do? I said quietly. Of course, there was no answer. I lay back again, same as before. But this time, I didn't try to avoid looking. I turned my head, stared right at it. Seconds passed, maybe longer. Nothing changed, which was worse. Because something should have. A light, a shift. Anything to prove it was just a device. But it stayed exactly the same, like it didn't need to react. Like it had already gotten what it needed. I don't remember deciding to speak again. Okay, I said to the ceiling, to the vent, to whoever might be behind it. I'm acting normal. The words sounded steadier than I felt. I folded my hands over my stomach, kept my breathing even, slowed my blinking. If they were watching, I'd give them exactly what they asked for. No panic, no reaching for the screwdriver, no more calls. Just routine, just stillness. Minutes passed, or longer, it's hard to tell. Because at some point, while I was staring at the camera, trying to look like nothing had changed, I realized something that hasn't let go since. The officer never asked what room it was in. He never asked where the vent was. He never asked how I found it. He just told me not to touch it, and to act normal. Like he already knew exactly where to look.